I'm going to kind of give you some perspectives from doing practice development, practice enhancement for about a quarter of a century. As I look back over the years, I look back over the 600 and maybe 40 or 50 consultations that we've done, I find that there are very, very few partnerships. In fact, I would say that of those 600 practices, 50 practices, I'd say I'm dealing with or I've seen less than 25 partnerships. And I think there's a specific reason for this, and the reason is that cosmetic practices are unique, and that's all we deal with. We do not deal with functional surgery practices or insurance-paid practices. You get into some factors that I want to try to maybe discuss with you and that are unique. So I'm going to really spend some time talking about why partnerships in cosmetic surgery is not going to happen. I always believed that moving a practice to a cosmetic surgery base would create an asset that could be sold, transferred, and I think the words finding people where we could align the business interests. I just assumed that. We would take these practices that we've created into money machines, and again, our benchmark of excellence is, $2 million is about where really we call a success story starts. So $2 million, $2.5 million, $3 million, that's where we see our clients moving to and they are at right now. I always figured these money machines were transferable, but to my surprise, they have not been. I think the biggest single reason I've observed that practices cannot be transferred, but more importantly, I think that they are not going to lend themselves to these mergers and acquisitions, is the charismatic factor. It's something it's very difficult to define, but as I see it, the doctor, no matter how charming or uncharming the doctor is or isn't, there's still a charismatic factor that starts either with the doctor or with the staff, and you can't transfer that. And that's a factor that I don't think a larger corporation or business is going to be able to easily walk into. In fact, if you look at it, these LASIK centers were supposed to be a corporate kind of propagation of success stories. These medical spa centers springing up, they were supposed to be a moneymaker, a gangbuster opportunity. Reason number two is I think the new technologies that are occurring are creating these specialty centers. And these specialty centers are actually having some opportunity to create a commodity effect. I think that the lifestyle lift is an example, the Swift lift, these variations of these melting centers that are using everything from lipodissolve to radio frequency and also laser technology. They're kind of beginning to create an option for a patient to find a solution to a problem that they perceive they have and have it handled in a way that, by the way, in most cases is not any more cost effective than going to a real plastic surgeon like one of you two and getting the job done correctly. But they've created a brand, and that brand, like Botox, like other products that we can mention, are things that people are responding to. Reason number three, I think incentives that we were talking about earlier this morning, these incentives right here, they create some very serious problems. I'm not finding that incentivizing a staff is always as beneficial as you think it's going to be. I'm finding that particularly when you start rewarding staffs at different levels and you start putting an emphasis on the money side of it, I think it backfires. And many of these corporate structures are looking at creating incentives that will pay people money to bring patients in. I'm not sure that model is going to actually work. A model practice to me, a cosmetic surgery center, would be something like 4,500 to 6,000 square feet. It would have a licensed surgical facility, quadruple ASF or either a Medicare certified. It would have a contiguous medical spa kind of built into it. The medical spa would not have a separate front door. It would come to the same front door. It'd have about 7 to 10 employees maximum. It would be generating anywhere from $2 to $3 million a year. It would be a great building. The practice would own the building, and this would be what I would call an ideal model that should be transferable. But here's what we found. After we bring some of the young plastic surgeons into these practices and say, look, here's a way where an owner of this practice is willing to share his wealth he's willing to take a modest down payment and then take installments for tax purposes. And all you need to do basically is walk in and take over this cash machine. Honestly, if we tried that 25 times, 22 times it has not worked. So we finally figured out what's really going on. Why isn't this working? And I'm really talking to some of you that are in this room here because you're probably looking at, well, bringing on an associate to share the wealth or to solve one of the basic problems. Problem number one, you want to offload for functional surgery. Problem number two, you want to capitalize on some market share, be it women or some ethnic group. Motive number three is you want to be able to bring in someone that can buy the practice from you. There's another motive, but the point is, all these motives are all good motives, but they just don't seem to wash. The new associate walks in, and you say, well, look, what we need here, this practice is generating $2 million a year. We'll sell it for a third of the value. We'll sell it for $600,000. And what we're looking for is $75,000 to $100,000 as a down payment to show good faith. And then you can pay over, for tax reasons, the owner will take modest installments for the next 4 or 5 years. And if you want to buy the real estate, you can buy it at market value. If you don't want to buy the real estate, you can lease it for him at market value. The deals keep falling through. And so I figured out what was really going on. What's really going on is that the guy that's making that kind of money is an expert at doing surgery. He's an expert at dealing with risk. And he's doing it on volume. And these new guys and gals can't do it at that volume. So they come up with excuses like, my attorney thought it was an unfair deal. I didn't feel as if I could get along with this guy. And blah, blah, it goes on and on. But it comes right down to, in the back of that new associate's mind, they just aren't prepared to bite the bullet. Yet we see a significant number of those new buyers walk away from the practice and start their own practice.